Have you ever shared an idea, a vision of the future so clear in your mind, only to be met with blank stares, polite nods, or worse, outright laughter? It's a uniquely human experience, this collision between audacious foresight and ingrained skepticism. For centuries, every truly transformative concept, from the printing press to powered flight, faced a gauntlet of doubt, derision, and dismissal. The very notion of steam engines replacing horses or personal computers becoming ubiquitous once seemed absurd to the vast majority. Yet history consistently reminds us that what appears impossible today often becomes indispensable tomorrow. This inherent resistance to paradigm shifts is particularly pronounced when a new idea threatens to dismantle established industries, challenging not just technology but deeply entrenched economic models and cultural norms. Consider, for instance, the automotive world, a colossal edifice built on over a century of internal combustion, a landscape defined by roaring engines and gasoline pumps. For generations, this was not merely a mode of transport, it was a symbol of freedom, power, and a way of life. The idea that something radically different could emerge, something quiet, electric, and even self-aware, was, for many, nothing short of fantastical. It was against this backdrop of deeply held beliefs and industrial inertia that a new wave of visionaries began to speak of a silent revolution, a future powered not by fossil fuels but by electrons. These voices, often solitary at first, championed a radical departure from the familiar, predicting a world where sustainable, smart vehicles would redefine transportation as we know it. Their passionate discussions about a future of electric cars and autonomous driving often fell on deaf ears, dismissed as utopian dreams or, at best, niche curiosities. This journey from ridiculed concept to undeniable reality is a powerful testament to perseverance and the often unseen forces that shape our collective future. It's a story not just about technology, but about belief, the unwavering conviction of those who see what others cannot, and the slow, arduous process of waiting for the world to catch up. Our exploration begins by delving into the very nature of this skepticism and the profound shift it sought to resist, laying the groundwork for how truly groundbreaking innovations, initially met with ridicule, eventually carve out their place in the world, often through the most unexpected circumstances. The narrative of electric vehicles is far from a recent invention. In fact, it's a fascinating tale of initial triumph, subsequent decline, and a remarkable modern resurgence. At the dawn of the 20th century, electric cars were not just a novelty, they were a preferred choice for urban dwellers. Quiet, clean, and easy to operate compared to their noisy, hand-cranked gasoline counterparts, electric vehicles held a significant market share. Pioneers like Thomas Edison championed battery technology, and electric taxis silently plied the streets of New York City. They offered a smooth, vibration-free ride, free from the noxious fumes and complicated gear shifting of early gasoline models, appealing particularly to women drivers. However, this early dominance was short-lived. A confluence of factors conspired against the electric car. The discovery of vast oil reserves in Texas led to a dramatic drop in gasoline prices, making internal combustion engines far more economically viable. Henry Ford's revolutionary assembly line, introduced with the Model T in 1908, drastically reduced the cost of gasoline cars, putting them within reach of the average American family. Concurrently, advancements in road infrastructure made long-distance travel more accessible, and electric vehicles, with their limited range and lack of widespread charging stations, simply couldn't compete. However, this early dominance was short-lived. A confluence of factors conspired against the electric car. The discovery of vast oil reserves in Texas led to a dramatic drop in gasoline prices, making internal combustion engines far more economically viable. Henry Ford's revolutionary assembly line, introduced with the Model T in 1908, drastically reduced the cost of gasoline cars, putting them within reach of the average American family. Concurrently, advancements in road infrastructure made long-distance travel more accessible, and electric vehicles, with their limited range and lack of widespread charging stations, simply couldn't compete. However, this early dominance was short-lived. A confluence of factors conspired against the electric car. The discovery of vast oil reserves in Texas led to a dramatic drop in gasoline prices, making internal combustion engines far more economically viable.
Henry Ford's revolutionary assembly line, introduced with the Model T in 1908, drastically reduced the cost of gasoline cars, putting them within reach of the average American family. Concurrently, advancements in road infrastructure made long-distance travel more accessible, and electric vehicles, with their limited range and lack of widespread charging stations, simply couldn't compete.
The electric dream faded, relegated to the realm of niche applications like milk floats and forklifts, and for decades, the roar of the internal combustion engine became synonymous with personal mobility and industrial progress. The very idea of an electric car as a mainstream vehicle became an anachronism, a curious footnote in automotive history, a concept that seemed to belong to a bygone era rather than a harbinger of the future. This period of dormancy cemented a profound psychological barrier, making it incredibly difficult for the public and industry alike to envision a practical, desirable electric future, a challenge that future innovators would have to confront head-on. The dramatic re-emergence of the electric vehicle in the 21st century owes much to a pivotal shift in vision and technological prowess, largely catalyzed by a singular, disruptive force: Tesla. While other automakers dabbled in electric concepts, often converting existing gasoline platforms, Tesla approached the problem from first principles, aiming to build a superior vehicle that just happened to be electric. This was not about making a green car for a niche market, it was about creating a high-performance, technologically advanced machine that could outperform its gasoline counterparts, fundamentally reshaping consumer perception. Key to this transformation was a relentless focus on battery technology, pushing the boundaries of energy density, range, and charging speed. Tesla's commitment to building its own robust charging infrastructure, the supercharger network, directly addressed the pervasive range anxiety that plagued earlier EV efforts. Beyond hardware, Tesla integrated software and connectivity in unprecedented ways, offering over-the-air updates that continuously improved vehicle performance, safety features, and user experience, a paradigm shift from the traditional automotive model. Their direct-to-consumer sales model also bypassed traditional dealerships, fostering a unique relationship with customers and controlling the brand experience. This combination of cutting-edge technology, bold design, and a visionary approach to business not only captured the imagination of early adopters, but also forced the entire automotive industry to take notice. Suddenly, electric cars were no longer slow, limited, or unattractive. They were fast, stylish, and packed with futuristic features, transforming the perception of electric mobility from a compromise to a desirable aspiration, proving that the future could indeed be quiet, powerful, and exhilarating. The impact of electric vehicles extends far beyond the mere mechanics of propulsion, fundamentally reshaping our societies, economies, and relationship with the environment. On a macro level, the widespread adoption of EVs offers a compelling pathway to drastically reduce urban air pollution, leading to cleaner, breathable air and improved public health in densely populated areas. Furthermore, it plays a critical role in mitigating climate change by reducing greenhouse gas emissions from the transportation sector, especially when coupled with renewable energy sources for electricity generation. This shift also holds the promise of greater energy independence for nations, reducing reliance on volatile global oil markets. But the implications stretch deeper. The rise of EVs is prompting a reimagining of urban planning, with cities exploring concepts like electric streets and integrated charging solutions within public infrastructure. It's driving innovation in energy grids, exploring vehicle-to-grid technology, where parked EVs can feed power back into the grid during peak demand, essentially turning millions of cars into distributed energy storage units. This potential for energy resilience is particularly profound in situations where traditional power grids fail. Beyond hardware, Tesla integrated software and connectivity in unprecedented ways, offering over-the-air updates that continuously improved vehicle performance, safety features, and user experience, a paradigm shift from the traditional automotive model. Their direct-to-consumer sales model also bypassed traditional dealerships, fostering a unique relationship with customers and controlling the brand experience.
This combination of cutting-edge technology, bold design, and a visionary approach to business not only captured the imagination of early adopters, but also forced the entire automotive industry to take notice. Suddenly, electric cars were no longer slow, limited, or unattractive. They were fast, stylish, and packed with futuristic features, transforming the perception of electric mobility from a compromise to a desirable aspiration, proving that the future could indeed be quiet, powerful, and exhilarating. The impact of electric vehicles extends far beyond the mere mechanics of propulsion, fundamentally reshaping our societies, economies, and relationship with the environment. On a macro level, the widespread adoption of EVs offers a compelling pathway to drastically reduce urban air.
Imagine a scenario where a community loses power, but vehicles capable of powering homes or providing critical transport remain operational, offering a lifeline of light, communication, and mobility. The silent hum of electric cars is also transforming our soundscapes, leading to quieter cities and reducing noise pollution, which has its own benefits for mental well-being and wildlife. This technological evolution is not just about changing how we drive, it's about changing how we live, interact with our environment, and build more resilient, sustainable communities for the future. Despite the undeniable progress and the compelling advantages, the path to widespread electric vehicle adoption is still fraught with challenges and persistent misconceptions that fuel ongoing skepticism. One of the most common concerns, range anxiety, stems from the fear of running out of charge far from a charging point, a legitimate worry in the early days, but increasingly less so with longer battery ranges and expanding charging networks. Similarly, the perception that charging takes too long is being rapidly addressed by fast-charging technologies that can add hundreds of miles of range in minutes, rivaling the convenience of a quick stop at a gas station. Then there's the environmental footprint of battery production, often cited as a counter-argument to EV benefits. While the mining of raw materials like lithium and cobalt does have environmental impacts, ongoing innovations in battery chemistry are reducing reliance on these materials, and robust recycling programs are emerging to create a circular economy for batteries, significantly lowering their overall life cycle impact compared to the continuous extraction and combustion of fossil fuels. The initial cost of EVs remains a barrier for many, though rapidly falling battery prices, government incentives, and lower running costs, fuel and maintenance, are steadily closing this gap. Furthermore, the question of grid capacity, whether our electrical grids can handle millions of EVs charging simultaneously, is a complex but solvable challenge, involving smart charging solutions, grid upgrades, and the integration of renewable energy. These are not insurmountable obstacles, but rather engineering and infrastructural hurdles that are being systematically addressed by continuous innovation, policy support, and growing public acceptance, steadily dismantling the myths and paving the way for a truly electric future. The journey from radical vision to undeniable reality is often a long and arduous one, punctuated by moments of intense doubt and eventual irrefutable validation. The story of electric vehicles, from their early promise to their modern renaissance, perfectly encapsulates this human drama of foresight versus skepticism. For too long, the idea of a fully electric, self-driving future was relegated to the fringes of mainstream thought, a subject of dismissal and even ridicule for those who dared to champion it. It was a testament to the stubbornness of old paradigms and the comfort of the familiar. Yet, throughout history, it has been precisely these moments of profound disbelief that precede the most transformative shifts. The true power of a groundbreaking technology often reveals itself not in controlled demonstrations, but in the crucible of real-world necessity, when its inherent advantages shine brightest against the backdrop of conventional failures. This is the ultimate vindication for those who dared to dream, who saw the future before anyone else. For Jacob Carter, whose unwavering belief in the electric revolution was met with derision, that moment of validation arrived with the force of a storm. When the familiar world faltered, when conventional systems failed, and a powerful tempest brought a small town to its knees, isolating its inhabitants and cutting them off from essential aid, the future he had so passionately predicted became their unexpected salvation. It was then, amidst the chaos, that the silent, resilient hum of an electric vehicle, specifically a Tesla Model 3, navigated the impossible, delivering not just supplies and safety, but undeniable proof. The arrival of Elon Musk himself, navigating floodwaters with effortless grace in the very embodiment of the future, transformed Jacob's predictions from fantasies into an undeniable, life-saving reality. This dramatic convergence of crisis and innovation served as a powerful, visceral lesson. Sometimes the hardest part isn't believing in yourself, but waiting for the world to catch up. It reminds us that the future is not merely an abstract concept. It is often forged by the relentless perseverance of those who dare to dream, and ultimately validated by the undeniable power of their vision when the world finally learns to believe. Consider for a moment the profound inner landscape of someone who possesses a conviction so potent, so deeply ingrained, that it withstands the relentless battering of disbelief from every quarter. This isn't merely about holding an opinion, it's about seeing a future reality with such clarity that the present, with all its established norms and comfortable certainties, appears fundamentally flawed or incomplete. Such a vision demands an extraordinary degree of fortitude, a resilience that allows one to stand as an outlier, a solitary beacon against a rising tide of skepticism. The emotional toll can be immense: the sting of condescension, the isolating weight of being misunderstood, the constant battle against self-doubt when the entire world seems to conspire against your insights. Yet, for true visionaries, this unwavering belief is not a choice, but an imperative, a fundamental aspect of their perception. They are often driven by an intrinsic understanding of underlying principles or emerging trends that remain opaque to others, feeling an almost moral obligation to articulate what they perceive, regardless of the immediate social cost. This steadfastness, this refusal to yield to conventional wisdom, forms the bedrock upon which all transformative ideas are eventually built, even if their initial foundation appears to be nothing more than a lone individual's unshakable faith. The prevailing societal reluctance to embrace radical ideas stems from a deeply ingrained human aversion to disruption. People inherently gravitate towards the known, finding comfort in existing frameworks and systems that, while perhaps imperfect, offer a predictable sense of order. Introducing a concept that threatens to upend established industries, overturn long-held practices, or render significant investments obsolete inevitably triggers a powerful defensive reaction. This resistance is often not malicious, but rather a protective mechanism, a collective reluctance to venture into uncharted territory where the risks seem to outweigh the perceived benefits. Economic interests play a significant role. Those who profit from the status quo have a vested interest in it, often employing considerable influence to discredit or marginalize nascent innovations. Moreover, cognitive biases, such as confirmation bias, lead individuals to seek out and interpret information in a way that confirms their pre-existing beliefs, making it incredibly difficult for genuinely disruptive ideas to penetrate the collective consciousness. Thus, the visionary often finds themselves not just battling ignorance, but actively confronting a formidable inertia born of comfort, economic entrenchment, and psychological resistance, making the acceptance of their insights an uphill climb. The prevailing societal reluctance to embrace radical ideas stems from a deeply ingrained human aversion to disruption. People inherently gravitate towards the known, finding comfort in existing frameworks and systems that, while perhaps imperfect, offer a predictable sense of order. Introducing a concept that threatens to upend established industries, overturn long-held practices, or render significant investments obsolete inevitably triggers a powerful defensive reaction. This resistance is often not malicious, but rather a protective mechanism, a collective reluctance to venture into uncharted territory where the risks seem to outweigh the perceived benefits.
Economic interests play a significant role. Those who profit from the status quo have a vested interest in it, often employing considerable influence to discredit or marginalize nascent innovations. Moreover, cognitive biases, such as confirmation bias, lead individuals to seek out and interpret information in a way that confirms their pre-existing beliefs, making it incredibly difficult for genuinely disruptive ideas to penetrate the collective consciousness. Thus, the visionary often finds themselves not just battling ignorance, but actively confronting a formidable inertia born of comfort.
Yet, history frequently underscores a profound truth. True paradigm shifts are often accelerated not solely by incremental technological advancement, but by the stark, undeniable realities forged in moments of crisis. While innovation can slowly chip away at old paradigms, a severe disruption can shatter them entirely, forcing a rapid reevaluation of what is possible and what is necessary. When conventional solutions falter, when established systems prove inadequate in the face of unforeseen challenges, the mind becomes acutely receptive to alternatives previously dismissed as fanciful or impractical. A crisis strips away the layers of complacency and exposes the vulnerabilities of the familiar, creating an urgent demand for novel approaches. This dramatic shift in context provides a unique window of opportunity for previously marginalized ideas to demonstrate their intrinsic value in a tangible, undeniable way. It is within such crucible moments that abstract concepts transform into concrete lifelines, proving their worth not through theoretical debate, but through immediate, life-altering efficacy. The urgency of a desperate situation can compress decades of gradual acceptance into mere hours, fundamentally altering collective perceptions and accelerating the adoption of what was once considered impossible. The power of experiential proof, particularly when it addresses an immediate and desperate need, is unparalleled in its ability to dismantle entrenched skepticism. When an abstract concept or a futuristic technology moves beyond the realm of theoretical discussion and directly intervenes to alleviate suffering or solve an urgent problem, it transcends mere intellectual understanding and becomes an undeniable, visceral truth. For those who had dismissed the potential of a new solution, witnessing its efficacy firsthand, especially in a moment of vulnerability, creates an indelible impression that no amount of argument or data could replicate. It is one thing to hear about the capabilities of an advanced vehicle. It is quite another to see it effortlessly navigate impassable conditions, providing a lifeline when all other options have failed. This direct, personal encounter bypasses intellectual resistance and appeals directly to the senses and emotions, forging a new reality in the minds of the beholders. The skepticism that once seemed so logical evaporates in the face of tangible, life-saving utility, transforming doubt into profound admiration and a new understanding of what the future truly holds. Beyond the immediate relief and the practical demonstrations, a deeper transformation unfolded within the community, extending far beyond the immediate crisis. The initial, widespread ridicule directed at the visionary gave way to a profound sense of awe, respect, and even a touch of humility. Those who had mocked and dismissed now saw the world through a newly opened lens, recognizing the profound foresight they had previously scorned. This shift in perception was not merely about acknowledging a technology's capabilities, it was about understanding the unwavering conviction of an individual who saw beyond the present limitations. The vindication of the visionary served as a powerful catalyst for a broader reevaluation of what constitutes progress and who possesses the insight to guide it. The community, having witnessed the tangible benefits of a radical idea, became more receptive to future innovations, fostering an environment where curiosity and open-mindedness could flourish. This ripple effect, born from a single moment of undeniable proof, began to reshape the collective mindset, encouraging a greater willingness to embrace change and to listen to those who dare to challenge the status quo, thereby planting the seeds for future transformations. Beyond the immediate relief and the practical demonstrations, a deeper transformation unfolded within the community, extending far beyond the immediate crisis.
The initial, widespread ridicule directed at the visionary gave way to a profound sense of awe, respect, and even a touch of humility. Those who had mocked and dismissed now saw the world through a newly opened lens, recognizing the profound foresight they had previously scorned. This shift in perception was not merely about acknowledging a technology's capabilities, it was about understanding the unwavering conviction of an individual who saw beyond the present limitations. The vindication of the visionary served as a powerful catalyst for a broader reevaluation of what constitutes progress and who possesses the insight to guide it. The community, having witnessed the tangible benefits of a radical idea, became more receptive to future innovations, fostering an environment where curiosity and open-mindedness could flourish. This ripple effect, born from a single moment of undeniable proof, began to reshape the collective mindset, encouraging a greater willingness to embrace change and to listen to those who dare to challenge the status quo, thereby planting the seeds.
Ultimately, the narrative of a visionary facing disbelief and finding vindication during a crisis serves as a timeless parable for human progress itself. It underscores the profound human tendency to initially resist what is new and disruptive, even when it holds the key to a better future. Yet it also illuminates the remarkable capacity for adaptation and transformation when presented with irrefutable evidence, especially under duress. This ongoing dynamic between innovation and skepticism is not a flaw in human nature, but rather an inherent part of the evolutionary process of ideas. It reminds us that every significant leap forward, every paradigm shift that has reshaped civilization, began as a flicker of insight in the mind of one or a few, often met with derision before achieving widespread acceptance. The true genius lies not just in conceiving the future, but in the unwavering perseverance required to champion that vision until the world, through experience and necessity, finally catches up. This enduring lesson encourages us to cultivate a greater openness to novel ideas, to question our own preconceived notions, and to recognize that the seeds of tomorrow's breakthroughs are often sown in the fertile ground of today's dismissed dreams. Reflecting on this journey so far, it becomes evident that the arc of progress is rarely a smooth ascent, but rather a complex interplay between audacious foresight and the gravitational pull of the established order. We've traced the contours of an idea that, despite its historical precedence, seemed consigned to the annals of quaint curiosities. The very notion of a fundamental reimagining of personal mobility, one that challenges deeply entrenched industrial behemoths and cultural norms, often encounters a formidable inertia, a collective resistance born of comfort with the familiar and an inherent skepticism towards the truly disruptive. This initial dismissal, however, often serves as an unwitting crucible, forging the resolve of those who see beyond the present limitations and compelling them to persist against the tide of conventional wisdom. The resurgence of a once-eclipsed concept was not merely an incremental technological refinement. It was a defiant redefinition, born from a commitment to build anew rather than simply adapt. This radical approach, prioritizing fundamental superiority over conventional compromise, began to chip away at the psychological barriers that had long confined the idea to the periphery. It wasn't just about efficiency or sustainability in isolation. It was about performance, aesthetic appeal, and an entirely new relationship between user and machine. This paradigm shift, driven by a relentless pursuit of innovation, started to dismantle long-held assumptions about what was achievable, transforming public perception from one of compromise to one of aspiration. Drawing these intricate threads together, we begin to discern a tapestry far richer than any single innovation. The implications of this vehicular transformation extend far beyond individual journeys, resonating deeply within the very fabric of our communities and our planet. Consider the quieter urban soundscapes, the cleaner air that breathes new life into densely populated areas, and the profound potential for greater energy independence that arises from diversified energy sources. More subtly, yet profoundly, this evolution is prompting a fundamental reimagining of our infrastructure, encouraging novel approaches to energy distribution and urban planning.
It speaks to a future where mobility is not just about getting from point A to B, but about contributing to a more resilient, healthier, and interconnected societal ecosystem, one where the silent hum of progress replaces the roar of the past. Yet, the path to widespread acceptance is seldom unburdened by lingering doubts, which often manifest as persistent misconceptions.
These aren't always born of malice, but rather from an understandable human need to reconcile the new with the known, to fit groundbreaking advancements into familiar mental models. However, the relentless march of technological refinement, coupled with strategic infrastructural development, is steadily eroding these perceived limitations. What were once significant barriers, concerns about operational range, replenishment time, or even the broader environmental footprint of the very components, are being systematically addressed through continuous ingenuity and a commitment to circularity. This ongoing process of dismantling myths through tangible solutions is crucial, transforming abstract anxieties into concrete assurances and paving the way for broader adoption. What truly accelerates the embrace of such transformative ideas, however, is often an unexpected catalyst, a moment when the familiar falters and the inherent strengths of the novel solution are laid bare against a backdrop of conventional inadequacy. It is in these crucible moments of adversity that the theoretical becomes the indispensable, demonstrating a profound utility that no amount of prior argument could convey. The resilience of a system built on different principles, its capacity to endure and deliver when traditional structures buckle, offers an undeniable, visceral proof that bypasses all prior skepticism. This powerful experiential validation transforms not just individual perceptions, but can fundamentally shift collective consciousness, paving the way for a broader societal acceptance that might otherwise have taken decades to materialize. As we pivot towards the final reflection, consider how these converging insights illuminate the intricate dance between human innovation, resistance, and the ultimate, often unexpected triumph of foresight. The journey underscores a vital truth about progress, reminding us that the seeds of our future are frequently sown in the fertile ground of today's dismissed dreams, awaiting the opportune moment to blossom into undeniable reality. The saga we have explored, a journey from audacious foresight to undeniable validation, resonates with a profound truth about human nature and the relentless march of progress. It is a timeless narrative, echoed across centuries, where the visionary stands often alone, their clarity of perception clashing against the comfortable inertia of the established world. To envision a future so distinctly different from the present, to articulate a paradigm shift that challenges deeply entrenched industries and long-held beliefs, requires not just intellect, but an extraordinary degree of courage. The initial response to such groundbreaking ideas is almost invariably a cocktail of skepticism, dismissal, and even ridicule. This is not merely a flaw in our collective psyche, but a protective mechanism, a natural human resistance to disruption that forces radical concepts to prove their worth against formidable odds. Yet it is precisely within this crucible of doubt that the most resilient and transformative ideas are forged, their champions learning the arduous patience of waiting for the world to catch up. What often accelerates this glacial pace of acceptance is not merely incremental technological refinement, but the undeniable visceral proof born from necessity. When the familiar systems falter, when established solutions prove inadequate in the face of unforeseen adversity, the very fabric of our certainty unravels, creating an urgent receptivity to alternatives once deemed fantastical. In such moments of crisis, the abstract promise of a new technology transforms into a tangible lifeline, demonstrating its intrinsic value in a way no theoretical argument ever could. The quiet hum of an electric vehicle navigating impassable conditions, delivering aid where conventional transport fails, becomes more than just a feat of engineering. It becomes a powerful, irrefutable testament to a future that had been dismissed as mere fantasy. This experiential validation, witnessing the impossible become the indispensable, shatters ingrained skepticism and compels a profound reevaluation of what is truly achievable. The aftermath of such a revelation extends far beyond the immediate crisis, catalyzing a deeper societal transformation. The collective memory of dismissal gives way to a newfound respect, not just for the technology, but for the unwavering conviction of the individual who championed it. This shift in perception is a powerful catalyst for broader change, fostering an environment where curiosity is encouraged and unconventional thinking is valued rather than scorned. It teaches us that the future is not a predetermined path, but a landscape shaped by the daring few who see beyond the horizon, and by the collective willingness to embrace change when its benefits become undeniably clear. The vindication of the visionary is not merely a personal triumph. It becomes a beacon, illuminating the path forward for an entire community, encouraging a greater openness to future innovations and a deeper appreciation for those who dare to dream differently. This enduring narrative compels us to reflect on our own capacity for foresight and our own tendencies toward skepticism. How many groundbreaking ideas, born from profound insight, are currently languishing on the fringes of our awareness, dismissed as impractical or impossible? The story serves as a potent reminder that progress is rarely linear, often requiring a leap of faith into the unknown, a willingness to challenge the very foundations of what we believe to be true. It underscores the vital importance of fostering environments that not only tolerate but actively encourage divergent thinking, for it is often from the most unexpected corners that the solutions to our greatest challenges emerge. The true practice of foresight begins not with predicting the future, but with cultivating an open mind in the present, a readiness to listen to the quiet whispers of innovation amidst the clamor of the status quo. Ultimately, this journey from ridicule to redemption, from a whispered vision to a resounding reality, is a testament to the indomitable spirit of human ingenuity and the transformative power of perseverance. It is a call to cultivate not just technological advancement, but also intellectual humility and a profound appreciation for the unconventional. In a world constantly grappling with complex problems, the ability to see beyond current limitations, to believe in what others cannot yet perceive, is more crucial than ever. The future will undoubtedly present new challenges, new ideas that seem outlandish, and new visionaries who will face their own battles against disbelief. The true practice begins now, in our willingness to embrace the nascent, to nurture the audacious, and to recognize that the greatest transformations often arrive on the wheels of what was once thought impossible, proving that sometimes the hardest part isn't believing in yourself, it's waiting for the world to catch up, and then helping it move forward.